Hello and welcome to episode 250 of Ask MandRproductions, a series where I answer your questions. If you have a question you want answered in next week's episode, leave in the comment section down below. And this episode is sponsored by Whatnot. So more on them and the epic giveaways I'm doing on Whatnot this weekend later in the video. Before we take any questions, I have a tragic tale for you. The other day I got an email, which was probably one of the odder requests I've gotten via email, but basically this person was going on vacation to the Orlando area and wanted to know if I knew any barbers in the local area that would be good for him because he forgot to get a haircut beforehand. Unfortunately, I didn't really have one for him because I told him I go to Great Clips or Super Clips or Sports Clips or whatever every time. This did, however, remind me to get a haircut for myself. So yesterday I went out to get a haircut and it doesn't even look as bad as it should look on camera. It's awful. Like if my hair is straight down, it's way longer on this side than it is on this side. You can see it like doesn't even do anything over here. This is the worst haircut I think I've ever had. It is abysmal, terrible, no good. And the lady giving me my haircut while in the middle of giving me the haircut goes, "Oh yeah, I just started here a week ago." And you know, I don't have the balls to tell them that it's a bad haircut while I'm there. So you know, I just pay the $20, leave the tip and leave. And then when I got home, I took the final look in the mirror and I was like, oh yeah, this is abysmal. It was rough. We're gonna have to super glue the hat on for a while. It's not gonna be leaving. Jackson, sir, do you think there's a specific reason we don't get battle packs to counter each other, like why we don't get droid battle pack to counter the new 501st? So with droid battle pack specifically, I've been pretty open about the idea that a droid battle pack with battle droids is pretty unnecessary because they include battle droids in pretty much every clone trooper set at this point. That isn't the clone command station and the new clone battle pack. Like, a lot of them are getting battle droids, so just by virtue of buying clone troopers, you're also getting battle droids, so it's just an unnecessary set. I also think specifically with clone trooper battle packs, you can't just do a droid battle pack every time there's a clone trooper battle pack, so it doesn't make sense from that perspective. Like, if they do another clone battle pack next year, well, is there supposed to be a counter to it again? Like, you kind of run out of ideas pretty quickly for what you can counter clone trooper battle packs with reasonably. I think battle packs are just in a different spot right now for LEGO Star Wars. They're just not going to be doing counters. The last time we had a counter battle pack was in 2017. Ever since then, there hasn't been counter battle packs, and it just seems like that's the direction they've gone. They've gone away from what they were doing for the first decade, and now we're kind of in a space where you're going to get one a year, it feels like, and they're just going to be one-off battle packs. Snowtrooper, Clone Trooper. Hopefully another Clone Trooper next year, but who knows. Parzival says, if you could choose your ultimate Playscale Rebel fleet, which sets and versions would you use? I'm going to take the 2017 A-Wing with Lando Calrissian. It had that cool figure, plus I think it's just a really solid, well-rounded A-Wing. I would also take the 2006 B-Wing. It's certainly better than the 2000 version, and I feel like they skimped out in 2014, made it a little skinny looking. I didn't look at the source material, I don't really know which is more accurate, but I like the beefy look of 2006, and I certainly love the display stand slash, it's not really a display stand, of course, 2006, they were solely focused on kids with sets like this, but now they're a little bit more open to the idea that adults might buy these sets too in 2023 and beyond, obviously. But the maintenance stand, I guess, basically the thing that held the B-Wing vertical in 2006, that's the best B-Wing set, playset that they ever made. I'll take that 2018 X-Wing almost any day. Its sole flaw was the giant helmets that they gave Luke and Biggs Darklighter that they backtracked on the next year. I'm still hoping they'll do that with some of the clone helmets. Obviously, the clone helmets work in some places, don't work in others. But anyway, back on track. I think that's the best X-Wing playset from 2018. And then for the Y-Wing, man, that's a tough one. I love the 2007 model, but I don't think it's the best. 2017 also had an amazingly strong showing, and I totally respect your opinion if you think that's the best, but the real best Y-Wing was 2012. I absolutely adore that design of the Y-Wing. For whatever reason, I just really liked the white Technic rods that they used at the back, although gray might be more accurate in 2017. Aesthetically, it's just a bit more appealing to me in 2012. I just really loved that 2012 set. Definitely nostalgia playing a factor here in this answer too, but hey, it's my list. You can make your own. Oh, I almost forgot the Snowspeeder. 2004. Definitely a nostalgia pick for 2004 Snowspeeder, but the 2004 Snowspeeder is awesome. Although I think realistically the best one is 2019, but if I can only have one of each of these ships, I'm taking the 2004 one. The Brick Reporter says, what is the best LEGO clearance deal you've ever found in a store? So it's not common, but every few years you just get lucky. You find something that's amazing. And recently I had one of those times at Costco. They do sell Lego, at least at most locations, unless it's like a business center location, which is like a different type of Costco. I don't really fully understand it, but my local Costco, which opened like a year and a half ago, has Lego, and I went in there not too long ago, and they were selling sets like Obi-Wan's Duel for $15. That's normally a $50 set. And they had many other sets, even some sets like Ninjago Crystal King thing that's usually like 80 or 90 bucks. That was literally $10. We're talking a battle pack price for a nearly $100 Lego set, and they have like 50 of them on the shelf. It was insane. So check out my vlog for that. I'll link that down in the description. It was an absurd time at Costco. It's my best clearance deal recently. Honestly, in the entire time I've been collecting Lego, I couldn't tell you what the single best thing is. The best way I can explain it is just I've been collecting for so long and I've been checking for clearance for so long that I'm bound to get lucky a few times here and there with some insane deals, and I certainly have. I think back in 2019-ish, they had like the Solo sets on clearance, and I was buying like the Han Solo Millennium Falcon for $35. That's a $170 set, literally $35, you know? Silly deals like that, or battle packs for $4 in that era. I think a lot of those Clone Trooper Jedi battle packs were on clearance for $4. So I bought insane amounts of Star Wars sets for stupidly cheap there. So a lot of stuff like that, I feel like just in a general sense, every once in a while you find a nice wave of clearance and it's insane. Forensic Candy says, do you think there'll be another exclusive Star Wars Celebration set like last year? If there is, what do you want it to be? I certainly don't want it to be what they did last year. Last year, what they did with Star Wars Celebration versus what they had done every other time previously, they made a special exclusive set that you could only get at the convention, and if you didn't go to the convention, even if you did go to the convention, it still wasn't a guarantee you would get it. I went in 2017 to Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. By the way, I had an awful time. I'd probably never do it again, but I tried to sign up to get the Lego set, and I didn't get the opportunity to purchase it. Like, it was like a lottery to be able to give them your money. It was kind of ridiculous, right? And so even though I had the ability to go, I had the money to go. I remember leaving work at the laser tag place and driving straight to Orlando and being dead tired, and then I stayed overnight in the convention center with like Michael MGF and Joe and Nick because we were waiting in line to be able to see the trailer for The Last Jedi in the morning. But anyway, last year with Star Wars Celebration, they didn't make an exclusive set. They added a special cardboard piece to the bottom of the outside of the box for the Kenobi versus Darth Vader brickheads. So I'm really hoping that that was kind of a one-time thing, and that this year in 2023 they'll have an actual unique set for Star Wars Celebration. They've done so many fun things in the past. I guess the most reasonable thing to expect would be some sort of Ahsoka, or since it's the 20th anniversary of Clone Wars based build that's for display in an all-black box art is what I would kind of expect from that if they do something unique, because Ahsoka's the big show this year. Maybe The Mandalorian Season 3 could be something they do something for. And I really think that's because in 2019 they did a Rise of Skywalker theme build ahead of its release. So with Mandalorian and Ahsoka, it's probably the most likely thing for something like that to be based on. So fingers crossed we get something that's a little bit better than cardboard at the bottom of brickheads, because yeah, that's lame. And I hope the reason they did that was because of like COVID time constraints, or they weren't sure that the event was even going to happen, and so they didn't prepare something because they didn't know it was going to happen, that type of thing. Huddy Boy says, do you think it's easier building a clone army now, or would it have been easier around 2000 to 2010? Certainly for the first 7 years until battle packs came out there in the 2000s, it would not have been easier. I don't think it's more difficult in one era or the other though. There's Lego sets on the shelves that contain clone troopers at a cheap price. Then as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty equally easy. Now, if we're going to get into the discussion of some of your main big ships like ATTE, Republic Gunship, and Venator being the two highlighted ones there, a clone turbo tank, for 3 of those 4 I just named, you're going to be spending a lot more than you would have in the late 2000s because they don't exist as Lego sets currently available on the shelves. And that's always going to be a changing thing. You never know. This summer you can get 1 or 2 of those, or next summer, or 3 summers from now, or 4 summers from now. You know, it's just one of those things. But I think the reality is, as long as there are sets available on shelves that contain clone troopers, you can all, or whatever you want to army build, really, it's always going to be an accessible thing. These are accessible sets. They're available on 20 different retailer websites: Lego.com, Lego stores, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Kohl's. You walk in the store, you can buy them on the shelves most of the time. It's just not a huge availability issue for the most part after like a few weeks or a few months after release. You might have to wait a little while, but everything's generally pretty available, just like it would have been in the late 2000s with those clone battle packs. You know, they weren't sold out all the time. In fact, I think stuff sells out a lot more right now, just based on the hype from the internet and whatnot, but still widely available otherwise. Now here's the catch to me, and this is why I think it's modern day for me and probably a lot of you that have grown up through that era like I have. It's easier to build your army or collect anything or really do anything you want at this point in your life because you have money, right? You have a job, you do whatever. Like, I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, whatever, throughout that era when battle packs were $10. But I didn't necessarily always have $10 to be able to buy a battle pack. Now, in 2023, I always got 20 bucks to buy a battle pack. Like, I'm really fortunate in that way. So from a Lego availability perspective at this point in time, it is no different to me, although the different types of clone troopers, yeah, sure, you can make that argument that it's harder to get regular troopers, and it certainly is. But as far as, like, can I go out and buy what I want to build the army that I want, and for people that have grown up and now have, like, adult jobs, graduated college and whatnot, and are, like, making income, it should be easier now than it was when you were 12. This episode is brought to you by Whatnot, and you are going to want to be there this weekend because they're having a huge Bad Batch event where tons of streamers are going to be streaming related content from LEGO Clone Wars to the Bad Batch. My live stream specifically will be Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I have over $400 of free LEGO sets to give away to you guys in the span of just 2 hours. It's going to be a relatively short stream, but it's going to be a banger with tons of Bad Batch related minifigures. So if you're not on Whatnot yet, use the link down in the description below to get a $15 credit for your first purchase, although I don't think it covers shipping or tax, so just a heads up on that. But it could essentially get you a free minifigure for just the price of shipping and tax. Or if you're into other things, Whatnot is more than just Lego. People on there sell Pokemon cards, sport cards, and all sorts of other things you might be interested in. So again, use the link down in the description below, and don't miss my live stream Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, alongside tons of other Bad Batch related streams by other streamers. Says, what do you think the laziest UCS set is? Not the worst, but the one with the least effort put into it. It either has to be UCS Assault on Hoth, because they literally just made things mind-numbingly inaccurate for no reason. Things like having 3 shield generator bumps when there should be 4. It's actually one of the sets you could always point to when people like me say, hey, LEGO only cares about the original trilogy and they don't care about the Clone Wars. Now, I do not believe that statement is true at this point in time. I think times are changing slowly but surely, and we're in a better place than we were 3 years ago. But that set is a really bad showing for them. The Wampa not being able to fit through his own cave entrance, like, none of that set makes a lot of sense to me. But I think there's one true and best answer to this, and it's the second UCS Death Star playset, which they also called UCS. I think those should be lumped in the Master Builder Series category, and really mentally do lump them into that. But as they were released as UCS sets, the laziest one ever done was the re-release of the Death Star playset, because it obviously required the least amount of work. They didn't have to rework anything crazy, create a new internal structure. They didn't add any paneling that changed the model completely. They kept the rooms generally the same, and they slightly updated some minifigures, which probably took a weekend of work on Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever. Like, that's probably the least effort put into a LEGO Star Wars set in a while, just because you copy-pasted, more or less. Will wants to know if we can expect LEGO to put the new UCS Mandalorian helmet prints in regular Star Wars sets, or will the UCS Mandalorian remain unique? I think the exact figure that we got in the Razor Crest will remain exclusive to the UCS Razor Crest. However, as it pertains to that helmet print, which is far superior to what we were getting in years past, I expect that same print to be used for the Mandalorian minifigures for Season 3 sets. So if the Mandalorian Beskar armor is coming in Mandalorian Season 3 sets, which we can obviously assume will happen, he would get that new helmet print. It just wouldn't be on the same color helmet, and he wouldn't have the same armor set. He'd obviously have the Beskar armor set, so he'd look more like what we see in Lake Trouble on Tatooine, but with a better updated helmet print. And I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to expect. Nathan says, for those of us fans who have maxed out the space for their LEGO collection, what do you recommend? Do you recycle your display and rebag sets? Love the content. Congrats on the home purchase. Thank you, Nathan. And I don't bag or rebag sets. I know some people that will take sets apart piece by piece to rebuild them later, and I look at that as a massive waste of time. It takes quite a while to build your LEGO sets, and I think you can just spend your time better doing other things. But if you've run out of space and you truly feel this way, I think the best thing you can do is start to cycle your LEGO collection, if that makes sense. I'm just going to point out some examples on the shelf behind me, and let's pretend that this is your LEGO collection, and these are all the LEGO sets you have. So let's say summer 2023 is coming up, and there's a new Clone Turbo Tank coming out, and you want to buy this Clone Turbo Tank, but you need shelf space for that clone turbo tank. I think you should take one of your old sets and sell it, like the custom Rogue Shadow I have on my shelf. I'd take off my shelf and put a clone turbo tank on there in a heartbeat instead, I guess, right? And so I would sell that, get the money, buy the new set, so it would save you some money, first off. And then what you could also do, if you really don't want to, because I know a lot of people really love minifigs, obviously I do too, you can keep the minifigs from your set and just sell the set without the figs, because the figs don't take up a ton of space. You could even display the figures as their own thing, kind of up on the wall or something with their own special display case, and that could be its own thing. So I would recommend, if you're into it, keep the minifigs, sell a model that's currently on your shelf that you don't love as much as you used to, use the money you just got to help pay for part of your new set, and like, I think that's just the best way to do it, instead of like bagging sets and spending your time taking them apart. I think cycling LEGO collections is the best thing you can do. When you want to buy something new, you sell something old. Tabletop Studio says, what do you think your smartest LEGO investment is so far? Did you buy a ton of rare sets or minifigs and sold them for way more? There's been a couple that I've probably made the most profit on. I bought for $75 a box of 30 Scarif Troopers at Brickwell Chicago 2018, and I recently sold that for like 850 bucks. That's a pretty hefty profit there for just holding a box in my possession for 4 years. And then in the newer sense of investment, I bought like 40 Grand Admiral Thrawns. As soon as they said Thrawn in The Mandalorian, I went on Bricklink and just bought all of them that were like $40 or less. And then slowly over time, over the last year or so, the market crept up and crept up and crept up till a figure was worth maybe about $100. And then I started selling them. And so I made pretty good money on that. I don't know exactly how much, but those are two of my better investments, if you want to call it that, for LEGO Star Wars. It's certainly something that has been spurred on by my Whatnot sponsorship, and like I've kind of fallen in love with the app, and I really enjoy doing live streams and buying and selling things, and it's just a fun time overall. Also, I'm curious, for those of you that do invest in LEGO sets, drop your best investments in the comment section below that you've ever made. I'm curious how well some of you guys have done. Adam says he talked to a worker at the LEGO store yesterday, and LEGO is stopping their handouts of free gift with purchase sets to LEGO employees after 10 plus years due to cost reasons. What are your thoughts on this? This is actually insane. So for those that don't know, LEGO employees are typically given one of each gift with purchase that you ever see. So like the Blacktron set, like the May the 4th set, they're given one of those sets just because they're employed at the store. They don't have to buy anything, they just get that thing, right? And LEGO is citing cost as a reason to stop doing that, even though they just raised prices on everything. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. That's sad, and I'm sorry for anyone that works at LEGO that is having that benefit taken away. But I think it just kind of continues to show you the type of company that LEGO is. Obviously, they make a product that a lot of us like, but people behind it don't seem to have the best interest of the people that are helping make it so great in mind. Isaiah Build Stuff says, why do you think the clone minifigure packs are 20% off? So it certainly caught me off guard that they even put these on sale to begin with, but the singular LEGO Star Wars set that you haven't been able to get all year is literally on sale on lego.com, and it's been in stock for like a week and a half or 2 weeks at this price, which is just insane. So it means one of two things, and I certainly lean towards the latter here. One, it means they made a ton of them and it's finally back in stock for good and it will never go out of stock again. Two, it's retiring because we knew it was retiring, and everything else that went on sale, I believe, is retiring, except for a few items like the Hulkbuster and the foosball table. Like, those obviously aren't retiring 3 months after they came out. But the minifig packs should be retiring, so whatever's left is left. But the reason they aren't selling out is because everyone that's bought some can't buy any more because they put the limit of 5 or whatever on it, and you're not allowed to buy any more after that, and they'll just cancel your order. I've tried to order, many of my friends have tried to order again. Even though they're on sale and they clearly aren't selling out their stock right now, they won't let you buy more from lego.com, and lego.com is the only place you can buy them. So it's just a huge head scratch there. I think these will continue to kind of linger maybe for another couple weeks. I'm not sure. I mean, they could go out of stock literally any day. But the only way these are selling right now is by new people that haven't got them yet getting them. And that's obviously not happening either. Like, no one else seems to really want these that badly. But this is a good point to be able to make, is that the internet comments are not allowed to complain that they weren't able to get one of these. They have been in stock on lego.com for 2 weeks on a sale price at that. And so if you haven't bought one, it's your fault, but also just a PSA. It's available, so get it, take advantage of it. Why would you wait? You know, it could literally go to stock at any time and never come back. Cyclogenesis says, is it reasonable to start a business selling parts from the LEGO store pick-a-brick wall on Bricklink? I would figure out what your time is worth as far as that specifically is concerned. I know a lot of people that do really, really well on Bricklink, but what kind of piqued my interest with your question here is you specifically say the pick-a-brick wall, and I just don't know how good the parts are on the pick-a-brick wall for Bricklink. Now, my buddy Blaine does Bricklink, and he does get stuff from the pick-a-brick wall sometimes, but a lot of his stuff, he gets Lego sets in, parts them out, and then lists them on Bricklink like that, and that seems to be more lucrative in a lot of ways. So certainly as a side hustle, it could be really good for you, and I would not cross it off the list as a potential side hustle. You say business, so it makes me think a little bit bigger than that, I guess. So maybe not that for specifically the pick-a-brick wall, but certainly a good way to kind of get your feet wet with Bricklink and understanding the process, and it might be something that grows for you. So I say go for it, man. You can't lose too much on it. You're spending $15 a cup for your parts. You know, invest $100, see how it goes. Now, the trick with Bricklink generally is people want to have as many parts available at a time because that's how you get more orders, so keep that in mind. So having a big variety of stuff available is going to get more people to buy stuff from your store on Bricklink specifically. But I think it's totally worth a shot for you as a side hustle. I think you could make some nice extra cash for yourself to build your Lego collection or do whatever you want with that money. Boba Fett Fanatic says, should Lego bring back the animated style Phase 1 Clone Troopers? The problem is, I don't know if the Lego Star Wars designers consider the Phase 1 Clone Troopers that are available now to be realistic and animated. They changed the design to be less accurate to the movies to mix it with animated. So the current Episode 2 Clone Troopers that we see in the Clone minifig pack are actually a mixture of Episode 2 design and animated design. So to me, it would stand to reason that if they released a Clone Wars minifig pack with Clone Wars Clone Troopers, that they would therefore use the same exact Clone Troopers, because otherwise, what's the point of having the mixed armor to begin with if your clone isn't going to be the same, whether it's from the movie or from the show? I don't think I'm explaining it the greatest way, but there's a chance that LEGO Star Wars considers the exact clone trooper that we're looking at, that we all agree is generally an Episode 2 design, to actually also be a Clone Wars clone trooper, and they would use them synonymously, which I wholly disagree with. But they have clearly also done this with the animated / movie Phase 2 clone troopers for Episode 3 and the Clone Wars. We obviously have Clone Wars style 501st troopers, but with the ATT being an Episode 3 set, the armor of the clone troopers is the mixture of the animated and realistic movie style armor. So it's also Clone Wars clone troopers, if that makes sense. Like, they clearly don't want a distinction there for whatever reason. So I don't think they're going to bring that back. Do I think they should bring it back? Obviously, I think there should be the differentiation between Episode 2 Clone Wars and Episode 3. Like, it doesn't seem like rocket science to me. They used to do it. There's no reason they can't do it now, other than that they're, like, scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to save pennies on everything. Mind you, while simultaneously raising prices on almost everything. So yeah, Clone Wars Clone Troopers might never release in the way that you and I would think of them as we saw in 2008, with their own different design to Episode 2 Clone Troopers, because LEGO already mixed the armor and spat out the design that we see now, that it looks fine, it's aesthetically pleasing. Yes, I do like them. They just don't have a differentiation between Episode 2 and Clone Wars, and therefore they are one and the same. I think that Clone Trooper is a Clone Wars Clone Trooper as far as LEGO is concerned, which is dumb, stupid, and dumb, but that's the way it is. So let me know which questions you have for next week's episode down in the comments section below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you can use the link down below to sign up for Whatnot, get $15 off your first purchase, and check out my live stream this Friday.